Hi, hello, my name is Gabrielle, and today we're reviewing Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. So, this was not planned. I have a lot of other books that I want to tackle, but when I started reading Hell Followed With Us, I knew that I had to talk about it as soon as I could because it is just that good. To me, this is my favorite book of the year, only rivaled by Iron Widow by Zhang Zhao. But it is incredible. So I really recommend that you go in blind to read it because I think Andrew Joseph White did a really good job at throwing you into a world that you have no idea what's going on, but still really quickly figure this shit out. So I really recommend you going in blind. But we're still going to do my regular short positive review bit of talking non-spoilery at the beginning. So, Hell Followed With Us is the story of Benji, but before we talk about him, I think it's important to talk about the setting of the story. Hell Followed With Us happens in the near future. Not that far off, but pretty much so. There's one reference that the kids say that their parents were alive and probably teenagers in 2016, and there are multiple references to like the 2030s through clippings and information. So it's set in the near future, like in 25 years, but still like contemporary, right? In this world, a set of Christian extremists that call themselves the Angels have created a powerful bioweapon called the Flood that killed about 9 billion people on Earth. The setting of the story is that these people think that it is time to finish the Book of Revelations, and the only way to bring heaven and to liberate all of these heathens is with blood. The Flood is a special kind of neurobioweapon that morphs you into a kind of monster. Either it kills you by body horror, just wrecking your body over, or some of the people who are really lucky get body morphed into a kind of creature that they called the Graces, because the grace of God is so pretty. These are deformed monster amalgamation of body parts, etc. So, to come back to our main character, Benji. Benji is the son of one of the head priestess and was chosen to get a special string of the Flood called Seraph, which is really slow acting compared to the regular Flood, so like Grace, like monster biting, but it is meticulous in the way that it transforms Benji's body into that one of a monster. And Seraph is really important to the Angels because Seraph has the particularity that it can control the other Graces. So the moment that they're gonna have a Seraph, a fully functional Seraph in their ranks, which has not happened after 16 tries, by the way, but the moment that Benji will become a real functioning Seraph, their holy mission will finally come to fruition, or at least that's what they think. The story follows Benji as he's trying to run away from the Angels, and also is slowly sensing himself morphing into this blood-hungry monster that's only purpose is to kill the heretics and liberate the world, which he doesn't want to do. This book is really interesting. It has a lot of cool plot lines. It has a lot of like queer family vibes because Benji is a trans man, and when he gets, like the first time he gets away from the Angels, it's by one of the like communes in the neighboring city, which is an old youth LGBT center. So it's all the people who were there before the Flood, and so he is in a group of queer people, which he never had because Christian extremists. So it has a lot of like queer youth solidarity, but also infighting, because not all of them agree on anything, because that's just how queer people are. We're not monolithic. There is a lot of infighting. There's a lot of rage. It goes again on rage. It has a slight romance subplot, but it's really slight and really like more cute. Like you're not necessarily waiting for it to happen, if you know what I mean. Like it just does, and it's cute. Yeah, it has autistic representation that is by an autistic writer, so it doesn't seem to be like violent or bad or gross or annoying. And it has a lot of Christian imagery and a lot of Christian rage and a lot of trauma, and it is so really fucking good. I beg you to go read it. But now let's go on to the spoilery part. So as all of my other short positive review, the spoilery part like kind of takes for granted that you've already read it, so I'm not necessarily going to give a lot of context on what I'm talking about, but still, I'll try to. First thing I want to talk about in this spoilery part is definitely the body horror. It was literally so fucking good. Specifically the scene where I was waiting for the shoe to drop, right? Because I've seen the official art that Andrew Joseph White did, and I was waiting for the cheeks to fucking burst out. And the scene in which it happens is literally so really fucking good. Like that one scene where Nick, I'm going to talk about Nick soon, but this scene where Nick and Benji are just like arguing because Nick has been really fucking fucked up, and then Benji's like starting to scream, and then there's just splat on the ground. He's like, what the fuck is that? And he looks down and it's just his entire fucking cheek on the ground. Is everything. Let's talk about the characters. There's not that many to talk about, so I'm just going to talk about the ones that are really, really important to the story. So let's start with Benji. Benji is really interesting in this writing style because unrivaled teenage queer angst and anger and being scared and anxieties, and it is really, really interesting to see it written the first person in the present tense, which is my personal favorite book tense. I know a lot of people hate it online, which I think is stupid because maybe you don't get it, but I think it's the best way to explore a character's psyche. It's the best way to have like a character study is really by going in their first person mind and in the present tense, because that's what happens right now. That's their exact thought right now. And Benji's really interesting in that way because his exact thoughts are always really, really interesting and important. And one of my favorite well, it's not a bet, but my favorite like part of the book is that he knows how Seraph works, right? And he knows that Seraph is gonna make him more aggressive. And then at some point he's getting really aggressive and he's like, I want to bite this person's head off. And he's like, am I really like that? Or is that Seraph talking? And it's really, really interesting to see like the fight back that he has. It's so fucking good. I really, really like that part. Second character I want to talk about is Nick, because obviously Nick is the main love interest, I guess. He's really interesting in a character. He is openly autistic. He is really stern. The plot twist towards him is that he used to be an angel as well. He was the angel that killed his entire squad and fled, except one person that we're talking about next. But he like sees the world in a very different way, being autistic. And like the first thing he did was trying really, really hard to dehumanize Benji, because his first goal, he was being tactical about it. He thought that the only way to deal with the angels was to use Benji against them. And then the other plan was, so there's this group of Republicans. That's not what they are, but that's what they're coded as. These groups of like highly armed men that are so intense and important, and they are so strong that don't want to kill any angels, and they trade food and supplies to these kids in exchange for every angels that the kids kill. And so at some point the next plan was to kill Benji and give him to these Republicans, or give Benji to them, because Benji being Seraph, they would like appreciate that, I guess. Then he's trying to dehumanize him because like he's not able to do it if like he sees him as a person. So then that's why they have a like confrontation. But then I think that Nick realized what he's done and he's not able to go back, and then he's not able to betray Benji because he likes him at the end. Like he's liked him the whole time, but he was trying really hard to distance himself. And then they're really good friends at the end, and probably more, which was interesting. Next character is Theodore. He is Benji's fiance, which is really supportive of Benji's transition for the look of it all. He is an angel. He is still really much think that angels are doing the right thing. He is the one that Nick spared because he was a coward, whatever. Theodore then is the one that like tries to reconnect with Benji because they find each other, and he's trying to like he's trying to pretend that he's doing that for the good of it all, but you realize really quickly that he is just trying to be an angel again and to kill all the ALC, which is the group of teenagers. I don't like Theodore. I think, well, I mean, he is the villain. Of course you don't like him. I really didn't like him. I didn't like his plot twist at the end either, really. At the end, he becomes the minion, because once Benji is fully becoming Seraph, he is like a classic monster. His friends come to save him. And then Theodore is like, oh, you thought I wouldn't know that? And then he injects himself with the Dominion. It's another part of Seraph, which is a lot more aggressive, a lot more quick, a lot more dangerous. And then they have a fight, and it was really, it was an interesting fight. I just thought that Theodore's like sudden twist could have been a little more emphasized, because like we knew he was a coward the whole time, and we knew that like his goal was to be like the best angel, but it just like didn't quite make sense for me that he immediately like decided to inject himself with like Dominion. It was like my only nitpick with the book, that I'm like, that side was like, ugh. Then the last character was the doctor who created the entire flood, and I think that's really, really interesting that really quickly she realizes that she is like not okay with it. She is very, very troubled with the thing that she did herself, which again I think is really, really interesting, really cool, and a really fun exploration of this type of character. The body horror is everything in this book. The writing is really, really cool. The interactions between the characters are complex and cool and fun, and Benji's descent into the monster is so really, really interesting and so very, very cool, and I really, really like it. The couple of chapters that are specifically centered around Nick are also really cool. I really, really like how the person changes. It becomes in third person to see what is going on with Nick, and I thought it was really cool. The beginning of each chapter has a quote. Sometimes it is directly from the Bible, sometimes it is directly from characters in universe, sometimes it's from fake propaganda, and I think that that was a really, really interesting and cool and fun, and really sets you into like the mood of the book, and I thought that was really, really, really strong. And I really like how Benji turning into a monster is not something that's undone at the end. It's just they're gonna live like that from now on. He is just a big monster with his friends, because at the end, the reason why Seraph is so important is because Seraph can control the other graces. So that's why he is getting himself into a Seraph, and because he is controlling the other graces at the end, he advertently caused the flood to reappear in some people who haven't nailed it before, so the angels, killing some in the process, but also disfiguring Nick in the process accidentally. But this book was everything to me. I really, 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 really like the book. I really recommend it. I really implore you to go read it. It was so good, so strong, so fun, so gut-wrenching at times. The imagery was everything. I really, really like it, and I'm so excited to read other works by Andrew Joseph White. I am really excited about what he's gonna bring next, because I'm flabbergasted. So let's go on to the montage. This art piece took a really long time. I thought it would be one of the quicker ones, and it took like 20 hours. I wanted to play with colors. I think one of my strengths in art is really my color picking and my color choice, and I decided to use that for wrongs, so to go a lot more experimental with that. And I used a lot of the colors that this book gave me like when I was reading it, because I don't know, to me this book is really yellow and pink and orange, and I think that's because of all the descriptions of like fat and like body horror that's been done. But anyway, that is the color that I see when I like think about it, so that's the colors that I picked the most of. And in the front we have Benji like mid transformation. It's not really a part of the transformation that was seen through the book really, but I decided to give him when his cheeks are gone but he still has a semblance of a human mouth. His wings are in his back, and he has a scrunched up paper of Nick in his hand, which is the I'm sorry note in my headcanon. And then in the background I did stained glass representation of Benji as a monster. Thanks a lot for coming around. This was really, really fun. I really, really implore you to go read that book right now. It is everything to me. You really, really need to go read it. My social medias are going to be all around the screen, and I'm gone. See you soon.